Today, we're embarking on a totally paradigm-shifting journey right into the very core of our biology. For decades, we've been told this very specific, kind of limiting story about who we are and really what controls our health. But guess what? Recent groundbreaking science is turning that entire story completely upside down. We're looking at the epigenetic revolution. It's a fundamental rewriting of the biological script. So get ready, because the way you view your own body is literally about to change forever. So here's the big question. Is your health pre-written in your DNA, or do you actually hold the pen? Okay, let's dive into this, because for the longest time, the answer seemed to be a resounding, nope, you definitely don't hold the pen. We were all taught this dogma of genetic fatalism, right? The idea that our future was just locked away inside our cells. But as we'll see throughout this explainer, the true answer is far more dynamic and honestly infinitely more empowering than we ever imagined. Section 1. The myth of genetic destiny, the old biology. There was a time, and it really wasn't that long ago, when the twisting ladder of the double helix was seen as the absolute, unquestioned dictator of our lives. Back then, the architects of molecular biology painted this picture where our traits, our brilliance, our health, and even our lifespan were encrypted into these inviolable blueprints. In this old model, genes were silent, sovereign, and completely immutable. The source material uses this incredibly powerful phrase to describe the weight of that era. To be born was to be sentenced. I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. Under this old view, your potentials, your tendencies, even your future diseases, they were just a molecular script written long before you took your first breath. It created this invisible shroud of fatalism and despair across our whole culture. Illness wasn't seen as just some deviation of circumstance. It was treated as an unavoidable fate encoded right into the marrow of your bones. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive shift we're undergoing right now. We're moving from the old biology, where genes were viewed as this heavy stone tablet of immutable destiny, to the new biology, where genes are understood to be more like a seedling, just full of conditional potential. We now know, irrefutably, even if it totally disrupts the old traditions, that our genome isn't a master script etched in stone. It is a highly responsive, fluid, and incredibly dynamic network. Section 2. The Epigenetic Revolution, a New Science. The heavy edifice of genetic determinism has completely crumbled, and a vibrant new understanding has taken its place. So what exactly is it? Well, epigenetics literally translates to above genetics. It's the study of how environmental signals modify gene expression without actually changing the underlying DNA sequence itself. Now, why does this matter? Because this signifies a revolution not just in a biology lab, but in human freedom. It means your genes are not primary causes, they're potentials just waiting for instructions. Health and disease, they're ongoing conversations between you and your environment. But wait, when we say the environment gives the instructions, we have to vastly expand our definition of that word. It's not just the chemical milieu of nutrients or toxins, though, those certainly matter a lot. The environment that's speaking to your genes includes the electromagnetic fields generated by your heart and brain. It includes the bioenergetic information carried by your daily thoughts and emotions. It even includes those deep, deep patterns of belief and perception that literally weave themselves into the tissues of your body. Moving right along to Section 3, the cell's true brain, beyond the helix. If the DNA isn't the autonomous commander calling all the shots, what is? Well, this is where the pioneering work of researcher Bruce Lipton comes in. Now, what's really interesting about this is a profound conclusion from Lipton's meticulous research. He states, the cell membrane, far more than the genes themselves, acts as the true brain of the cell. It's through the membrane that the cell actually reads its environment. The membrane acts like this incredibly sophisticated sensory organ, interpreting all those environmental signals we just talked about, and then modulating gene expression to match exactly what's happening outside. We used to think of DNA as the commanding general, right? Just barking orders that the rest of the body simply had to follow. But in reality, DNA is just a library. It's a vast, silent repository of information. And it's the environment, both your external world and your internal energetic landscape, that actually acts as the reader. The environment decides which books are opened, which chapters are read out loud, and which instructions are completely silenced. Section 4, Shaping Your Biological Environment, the Epigenetic Whisper. Let's get incredibly practical here. Once we understand that we are the ones providing the environment that opens those books, we start to see how our daily, moment-to-moment experiences act as constant epigenetic whispers to our cellular machinery. The contrast in how we live is absolutely life-altering. On one hand, research shows that chronic stress, that ongoing perception of threat, conflict, or helplessness, alters your gene expression in ways that actually predispose you to inflammation, immune dysfunction, and accelerated aging. But on the flip side, practices that cultivate inner coherence, things like meditation, gratitude, and compassion, they actively turn on genes associated with resilience, repair, and longevity. Every single feeling you have is actively telling your cells to either wither and defend, or to live, grow, and heal.
Which brings us to Section 5, Reclaiming Your Healing Power. Co-author your destiny.
If your thoughts, your emotions, and your energetic environment govern the expression of your genes, then you are absolutely not a victim of your biology. You are, in a very real and tangible sense, a co-author of your biological destiny. Your body is a living manuscript that you are rewriting, moment by moment, with the pen of your perception. Healing, seen in this brilliant new light, is never just a passive reception of fate. You become an active, conscious gardener of your own biology. And that requires intention. You have to actively tend the soil of the mind. You must consciously water the roots of positive emotion. And you've got to deliberately clear your energetic fields of the weeds and poisons that choke the flowering of health. It's a total act of conscious participation. So, how exactly do we participate in this biofield dialogue? Well, it's through practices like holding a clear image of health, breathing love into wounded tissues, and literally singing gratitude into your bloodstream. Now, I know, that might sound like poetry, but the source makes it absolutely clear this is not some poetic fantasy. This is direct, scientific participation in the modulation of your biological environment. You are sending literal signals to the membranes and the DNA. Epigenetics is basically just providing the empirical scaffold for what ancient indigenous healers, physicians, and shamans have always intuitively known. The body responds to meaning and intention. So, the crucial point to let sink in is this. Beyond DNA lies freedom. Beyond fate lies choice. The path to healing isn't just a pill to swallow or a procedure to endure. It's a conscious journey of self-remembering and reclaiming your agency. You have this infinite, radiant, and trembling opportunity to heal by aligning your energy with the living order of life itself. Which brings us to our final, vital question for you to ponder today. The science is incredibly clear here. Your genes are listening, and they are eagerly waiting for your instructions. So how will you choose to write your biological manuscript today? Are you going to let stress and fear dictate the narrative, or will you actively, consciously participate in the vibrant song of life? The pen is finally in your hand. Thank you so much for diving deep with me on this explainer, and I absolutely can't wait to explore more with you next time.
Thank you for watching. If something in this resonated with you, then you're already closer than you think. If you're ready to go deeper, there's a link below to my book, Quantum Healing Codes: Unlock the New Science of Self-Rejuvenation. This isn't theory, it's a framework you can actually use. Tap the link below and step into it.